went through the experience this past week, um, where I really questioned whether staying in this relationship was the right thing for me. Um, where I was so triggered and so certain that I couldn't actually have what I wanted, that I would need to leave this relationship to get what I wanted. And
And I'm so fucking grateful for Jason Gaddis.
yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, working with Jason Gaddis, has helped me to see that actually staying in the relationship, doing my work here, is the best possible thing that I could do for my ultimate healing. And it's like goes against like everything. Like my mind says no. You need to have boundaries, and putting in place boundaries means you need to end this relationship because that's what's the healthiest thing for you, and that's what's going to leave space for you to have what you actually want, and all of these things. And the truth is that this relationship is bringing up everything that I actually need to heal and providing a container for me to sit with that. Sometimes alone, you know, but knowing that we have this container. So it's, there's a safety in that. Um,
Let's talk about the pact.
so yeah, so let's talk about the pact because the pact really started here. And we intended to commit to the pact over the winter solstice. It didn't happen.
Because I felt like I needed more support.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we were invited to the community council meeting at the Integral Center here, that felt like the appropriate place to make the pact because being witnessed by our community. I mean, that's really the community that can support us. I mean, it's therapists and tea group and circling and men's groups, and I mean, it's the support, the depth and the breadth of support is just magnificent here. It's really breathtaking, and so the idea was to commit here, and I spoke with David Cates and we talked to Jason, and it became clear that the cauldron was still cracked. The alchemy would just explode the container, and we've seen it in so many relationships with friends and ourselves, and the alchemy of a relationship is like potent stuff. And right before on Friday, right before we were about to sit with the community and sit in a circle of about 40 people, um, you were still like, why are you backing off? Why aren't you committing? And what I told Allie is it would be like lighting off rocket fuel before the actual shuttle structure was fully built.
And so, we would be in this pact in this container, but then just going.
Just meltdown,
Yeah.
explosive meltdown, and that's, I imagine almost all of you can relate to that in your relationships. I don't think a relationship can be healthy until that potency is tapped, and I also feel like it can't be healthy unless there's a container for that potency, for that alchemy of transformation. Like Ali said, this is the perfect relationship to trigger all your stuff and hold you in it. Not just trigger you and have you go off.
Which, by the way, doesn't mean him actually sitting with me and holding me.
That was my mistake. Because I was
Which
caretaking
really,
and
I feel really sad about
therapizing. And
because I really want that, at least on the surface.
what does what mean, Kimbo?
It means him letting me be in my sadness. It means him going and doing his own work,
Sitting with my
sitting with his own abandonment.
She slammed the door last night and walked out and was like, "Fine, I'm gonna sleep in the other room." And I was like, "All right," but I didn't let it impact me. I stayed kind of tracking her, and she'll be back. I was just gonna listen to this audio, go to sleep. I didn't actually feel the devastation of the abandonment, which is my stuff. So it's to step out of being all up in your business and therapizing you, and I'm such a great facilitator, and just coming back into myself and just being like, and modeling what it's like to sit in my pain and my fear and my anger, my grief, and allowing you the space to do that as well.
Which I don't feel like on like my surface mind says I don't want the space. I want you to be here. I want you to be here holding me. Hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me. Don't let me go. Hold me, hold me, hold me. Don't ever go. But the reality is that I need to like sit with the deep, deep, deep fear and sadness that comes up when I'm not actually when he's not actually like here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's where, that's where the work is.
And it's for me to be alone, but in the container of the relationship.
Right. Right.
Because my pattern is that if I'm not in this relationship, well, I'm just gonna get right into another one, you know.
Right. And Jason talked about the distance. I've been looking for what's the gift in the distance. He talks about like, capacity for intimacy, our ability to be intimate, and how the space is actually really good for us because it would just be too much. It'd be too much to be together all the time. And I felt that, coming back here Sunday night, it was like, wow, I feel so much better just having some space, like knowing you're close and like knowing I'm going to see you again shortly and having space for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw you, I was like so much more attracted, magnetized, and it felt good. And I want that. And I know you do too. So,
And I wouldn't necessarily, for me, it's not so much panic, Chris. Like, I don't experience it as like what you would generally think of as a panic attack. It's more like I go into the mind space of, there's a couple things that I do. First of all, I go into, this is never going to work. This is never going to work. I'm not getting my needs met. And then, generally speaking, I will go to iciness. I go to ice. I go to numbness. And that's how I've built my businesses so successfully, really, is I just fueled all of that pain and all of that hurt. Instead of feeling it, I put all of that energy into my businesses, which allowed me to work like nobody else can, because that's a lot of energy, a lot of energy. And that's my way of shutting down, is just to work 14, 16, 18 hours a day so I don't need to feel. When I allow myself to actually feel it, it feels just like really deep sadness, fear. Fear, um, I can like really feel my heart. And, I can tell a lot of stories about it, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's fear. It's like, it's despair, hopelessness, devastation.
I love the image that Jason gave of when we hang up the phone, and you're feeling all that there's like this little baby Allie on the bed. And what are you going to do? You're going to go work.
Which is what I've done, I've abandoned the little baby part of myself again and again and again and again.